Welcome to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, where we help you conquer the internet one video at a time. We cover everything from how to start a YouTube channel to how to make a video go viral. And now, here's your host, the one and only Dusty Porter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 407 of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, the podcast all about content creators and taking your content, YouTube channel, and everything else in between to the next level. So if you're looking to start, grow, or monetize on YouTube, this is the podcast for you. Those who have listened for a long time, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And those new listeners, welcome. We're glad to have you. If you would go leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts, it does help the show grow, and it's absolutely free to you. And speaking of free, you can get our primary sponsor, TubeBuddy, access to all of their tools, no bars, no strings attached, for free for 30 days if you use our link down below. It's the one tool I recommend all creators try at least once. I promise you will not regret it. Everything from A/B testing of thumbnails, titles, descriptions, bulk updating old videos, and all of the new fun AI tools, and just basically anything and everything you need, TubeBuddy has. So check them out if you haven't already. I just want to say that one of my favorite things to do lately has been our Creator Discord Mastermind call. $5 is all it takes. Just kind of put your money where your mouth is. Gets you access to our Creator Discord server and the monthly mastermind calls. We just had one all about analytics about a week ago, and it was amazing. You can go to our Patreon page and find it. I've uploaded it over there to kind of see kind of the format of the calls. But not only do you get those calls, but every day you can rub shoulders, email, message, send all the things that you would want to learn here in the Discord server. So check that out if you haven't. For $5, that entry fee is a no-brainer. So definitely do that. And then lastly, I just want to encourage you, subscribe. Wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, I don't care where you listen, just subscribe. So every Friday at 6 a.m., you get access to these calls, because I promise you, these are some, me being the person doing the interviewing, this has been such a great thing for my channel, for my YouTube content, to see how the inner workings of successful creators and a behind the scenes look of what they do to succeed. So if you would subscribe, I would really appreciate it. All right, guys, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this week's conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Dusty here, as always, host of the show, joined today by Mr. Brad Bache from the Butcher Wizard YouTube channel. So let me tell you briefly about Brad. Brad has been making videos on the Butchered Wizard YouTube channel for almost 2 years. And when I tell you how big the channel is, you're going to be shocked, because that's a short amount of time to be at, let's see where he is right now, as recording this episode, 241,000 subscribers, which is just astonishing. The Butchered Wizard channel teaches people how to save money by cutting meat in their homes by themselves. Professionally, Brad has worked in the food business for over 20 years and loves to teach all that he's learned. Brad, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, The Butcher Wizard is the name of the channel, which I think just off the jump is just a clever name. I love that. You know, you're a butcher, you're teaching people how to do their own cuts with their meat at home, and there's so many elements where we could go with this, but before I get too excited, give me the origin story. 2 years ago, you said you had listened to this podcast. I'll kind of hold you to that. You were trying to learn. You were trying to figure it out. Tell me the origin story and how this whole thing started.
Yeah, after being a stay-at-home dad for a couple of years, I went back into the workforce, and I was actually trying to get back into it. I was in a prepared foods at a grocery store, and I still wanted to teach. I used to teach culinary school, and so it was really important to me to kind of get back into that teaching realm. So I thought I would start a YouTube channel. And I always loved teaching. That was my favorite class to teach, was meat preparation or meat butchery. So I basically started just making YouTube videos with my iPhone in my kitchen. And, my 8th video just took off. I took a whole ribeye from Costco. I showed people how to, make it into ribeye steaks and save money doing so. And it just shot up. It went over 1 million views in 4 days, and I was kind of off to the races. So it was a crazy experience.
Do you believe that the money-saving aspect of your channel is a big part of kind of the growth in the community you've built? Because as expensive as things are getting, I think that anytime people think they can save money on a luxury, which a ribeye steak is or a nice cut of meat is, so you're teaching people a skill set, but you're also helping them save money and be more financially responsible.
Yes, I think that was a big part of it. And that was part of my strategy going in when I started to do some of these videos of like, hey, what is the best value I can provide to a person? So it's not only teaching them how to cut the steaks themselves and giving them the confidence to do so, but it's also, that's how you get in the door is like, hey, I'm going to save you money. And I think that the thumbnail, I stumbled into this thumbnail that was really good. It showed kind of a cost savings between cutting your ribeye at home and buying at the store. So, I mean, it all came together in this perfect storm, which I did not know. I kind of happened to by accident.
It's a very popular thumbnail, right? It's something that's trendy right now is the, $100 versus $1, or in your case, what it would be to save $80 on a $100 piece of meat or whatever. The comparison, people love that. It's very visual. You can understand it quickly what the video is about. And it's interesting that you stumbled upon that so quickly upon launching the channel. Now, once the channel started growing rapidly after this video took off, what were some growth things that you might have struggled with, kind of, I guess you would say, kind of the learning phase of the YouTube channel? Were there some mistakes that you made early on that looking back, you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that?
I really do. The problem with having the viral video is a blessing and a curse. When it happens so early, you don't know what you did to make people watch. So the rest of my videos or the subsequent videos were, okay, now that I've taught someone how to do this, what are the next skills they would need? And those videos just didn't do very well. And then, it's just a constant search for that viral video again. And I think it's almost like if you went to the casino and you put $1 in a slot machine and won the first time that you pulled the arm, it's like, how do I get that dopamine hit again? And you're continually chasing that. So I think it's just a constant struggle to find out, okay, what can I do? Because there's only so many cuts of meat at Costco that I can do this with. So eventually I'm going to run out of stuff. So
trying to replicate the success, right? Of just, hey, this video popped off. Why? And early on as a creator, you're still learning yourself. We're always learning, but you're looking at it and you're trying to replicate it. And so sometimes you can get into a chase. Wouldn't you agree? Where you start chasing that, format, and it ends up hurting your content as a whole. So I think that it's interesting to hear you say that, hey, you need to get your systems down, your routine down, and kind of go from there. Now let's talk about that for a minute, about consistencies and routine. What is your cadence on the Butcher Wizard channel? Has it changed over time? And what have you kind of settled in on as far as consistency and how many videos you release and how quickly?
Yeah, I try to get out a video a week. I have had recently a couple of months where I've had to go every other week. So I find that once you kind of get over the hump of getting a consistent amount of views, there's a lot of other opportunities that come to you. And then you got to kind of remember that the videos are the thing. Like, you got to keep doing the basics. And sometimes it's really hard because you want to say yes to all these opportunities, but you also need to make sure that you leave time in your week and time in your day to concentrate on what got you there, which was the videos in the first place.
So you're saying you can be distracted by the shiny objects, whether that be money, products, in your case, affiliates, or whatever it may be. Man, that's such a good point, because you can really get bogged down by things that are not important. Things that in the grand scheme of things, yeah, you're getting an email from this Chinese company who's trying to help, have you promote their pots and pans. But in reality, the reason you're getting these opportunities are because of the videos, right? I had to learn that early on with the podcast. It got fairly successful fairly quickly once I relaunched it, and it was getting thousands of downloads, which is, in the podcasting space, is a large number. It may not seem like that, but it is. And so I was getting all of these offers and all of these things kind of pitched to me, and my affiliate stuff was doing well. But I had to remember that, when I stopped doing the episodes, eventually it may not be immediate. And I've done this on YouTube where COVID hit. This is such a similar story. COVID hit. I was at home, my family was at home. I was like, oh man, these videos are doing good. They're making me a lot of money, and I just wasn't making any new videos. And I didn't feel the repercussions then. It was 6 months down the line, 6 months to 12 months where I'm like, oh no, my older videos were pushing me through this kind of lull, but now I have nothing, right? So understanding that what gets you there is the content itself, right? Understanding that is so important. What's something you wish you would have known sooner? Looking back at your journey thus far, 2 years in, and now today you're like, man, if I just would have known that sooner, I could have been even larger or had a bigger community.
Yeah, I think I'm still learning those tricks, or those, there's still a lot of roadblocks in my process. So I think I wish I would have learned that you don't need to hit a home run every time. And I think that is I know it sounds kind of weird to say, but you put so much pressure on yourself of this video has to do X amount of views. And if it doesn't do X amount of views, then my day is ruined. My month is ruined. I think you have to look at it in a long-term way. And it's really hard to do so when you're focusing week in, week out. Like, I put out a video, it needs to hit this many views. And if it doesn't, you think it's a failure. But I found a lot of going back, if you go back over time, these videos that you thought initially were the failure because they only got, a lower amount of views in the first couple of months or whatever, have just kept on churning and accumulating more views. So I wish I'd just give myself more grace in each video upload.
What did you do when you got discouraged? Because I could imagine video 8 goes crazy. Video 9, 10 might do well, but video 13 might be just a flop. How did you motivate yourself and get through maybe in your mind, am I pretending that I'm good at this, or am I faking this whole thing, or was that just a fluke? Mentally, how did you get beyond that? Because a lot of my listeners, people I coach and things like that, oftentimes tell me, when I get on these calls, it's not really X's and O's of YouTube and the strategies. It's almost me in like a therapy session of just like, hey guys, listen, you're okay. You're going to do well. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, right? So explain how you got through those downtimes when you already had success.
I think the biggest thing is just to keep your head down and keep creating and keep doing things that excite you, keep doing the research. I love the statistics of it. And that's the part that I really is doing the video research on what would be a good video idea or video topic, and just kind of doing those things that you really like to do, and then getting better at. It's always good to get better at a skill. So I've been trying to get better as a video editor. I've been trying to get better each time as, every different aspect of it, writing titles, writing descriptions, all this stuff. I feel like YouTube is like 5 jobs in one, so there's, each portion of it could be someone's job, and you're trying to do it all yourself. So there's lots of growth opportunities. And I think focusing on getting from point A to point B, seeing how far you've come is very important.
It's also why you see a lot of creators, when they find a little success and start making some money, that they outsource the other stuff. So you start to see a creator that's found success that's not very good at thumbnails. They hire a very talented artist or thumbnail designer. People who are not good with storytelling hire someone to teach them how to be a better storyteller. People who are not good, like me, of the behind the scenes things, have, like my wife in my case, or other people kind of help them with the admin and behind the scenes things. It's where early on as a creator, you have to wear so many hats, and you're exactly right of understanding that you have gotten this far and you will again, and knowing that you're going to get there. And that's such a beautiful kind of way of looking at it. Now, speaking of the process, give me and the audience listening, what is your full process from like ideation, creating a video idea, all the way to publish, and what you do after you publish? Give us everything and how you do a video for the Butcher Wizard channel.
I think it's funny that you bring that up, because I have gone through I went through those same pitfalls. I went through editors, and they didn't it always just didn't pan out for whatever reason. And I always come back to doing it myself. But so for my process in general, I have just a basic Google Doc that I go through and I write down hundreds of ideas. So I'll take several hours of a week and just go through and look at what's happening in my space on YouTube. My favorite thing to do is go into a different niche. So, what else would my target person like to do? So they like woodworking. My target person is like an older man. Usually that's the biggest part of my market. So I'll go into woodworking and I'll see what's happening in the woodworking niche and then use some of those ideas, or gardening, or just different tech, these kind of things. I've got
that is so clever. So what you're saying, breaking this down into its simplest form, is that you're seeing what your target audience is, who your target avatar is, and then you're seeing where else they hang out and what else they're interested in and how those niches are capturing their audiences. I don't think we've ever talked about that here. That's very unique. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's a great point. Continue on. I'm sorry.
One of my videos has done really well is I did 7 things I don't buy from Costco. I got that idea from a tech channel that was 7 things they don't buy from Best Buy. And I was like, I'm just going to I copied that whole topic and made it my own. So, but anyway, so next I'm having a shooting day. I have 4 kids. I shoot in my kitchen. So again, it's very difficult to do so. So we'll try to get everything, set up. I'm the least tech savvy person that's probably on YouTube. I still just use my iPhone and a shotgun mic. So it's very low tech, but again, I can move it around. I can get the shots that I need for the different cuts. I try to make the shots completely different, as far as that's how I don't use multiple camera angles, just use the one camera and, go through the shooting. Then I'll go through the editing. I'm still trying to find that perfect editing software. I'm sure it doesn't exist, but I just keep plugging away at that. And I just try to make it as interesting as possible. That's I'll keep when I'm going over my scripts and stuff, I'll put like a journal and I'll write in the margin, keep it interesting, just to make sure. Cause a lot of times with my topic, I will get into culinary teacher mode and it can go over people's heads that way. So I'll try to keep it interesting, change the camera angles, say something funny, try to keep in some of the mistakes that I do, just to make it more real and more interesting.
Hey guys, a quick pause in the interview this week to talk about my new weekly newsletter called the Entrepreneur's Minute. My plan for the newsletter is to only send out 1 email every week with a recap of what's going on in my business, maybe do an income report letting you know kind of how much money I've made that week or that specific month, an update on my YouTube channel, and just a behind-the-scenes look of what it takes to be a creator, the books that I'm reading, the products I'm discovering, new AI tools and resources. So if you're just looking for a way to better connect with me, Dusty, and see kind of what I got going on and the different things that I want to write about each week, maybe it's my family, maybe it's my business, it's absolutely free. It's called the Entrepreneur's Minute, and I would really appreciate it. All right, now back to the show. Making yourself a reminder of, hey, listen, this can get a little bit in the weeds, Hey, you may want to add some spice to it. I love that. Now, you mentioned you've gone through some ups and downs when it comes to editing and figuring all that stuff out. You're still using your phone, which I love. These phones that we carry around now with iPhones and Androids and all the things the devices we have are just so good that it's, yes, are there better options? Sure, you could buy a few $1,000 DSLR mirrorless camera, whatever. There are options out there that might be marginally better. But as far as just baseline, utilizing the phone, the thing that you have, it's always a cliche, but the best camera you have is the one you own. And so that's important. Watching a handful of your videos, I would say that you can't really tell. I mean, it's, now that you've said it, I could tell, but the audio's really crisp in your videos as well, using a shotgun mic. So that's wonderful. Now, one of the interesting things about you is, as I've talked with you before we went live, and then also just kind of looking at your channel, you've kind of monetized the channel in a very unique way. You had that video pop off and you sold a lot of stuff with your affiliate link, but then you decided to come out with your own product. And I want to talk about that process of how to do that and what you learned from that. But let's talk about how you make money. What are the different buckets, is what I like to call them, in which you make money on your YouTube channel? And maybe if you can give us on average how much you might make in a month.
Yeah. So I have AdSense, and that's kind of, up and down with the, everyone feels the up and down of the AdSense, but that usually runs about, 4,000, average 4,000 to 5,000 a month. It can, obviously goes up in Q4 and that kind of thing, but that's kind of the base level. And I do some affiliate stuff. I have some affiliate links out there, nothing too crazy. Some Amazon links from old videos. I don't do that so much anymore, but it's in the archive. So it just kind of goes on. It's, just kind of rolls. Then with the products, so I launched my own knife line. It's 2 different knives, and that one does, it's tough because that one we launched in January. We've sold, probably 2,000 of these knives. So it's gone extremely well. We're now on Amazon. So that's doing, it depends on which line you want to look at, but as far as revenue goes, $8,000 to $10,000 a month on that. And, I do some sponsorships here and there. Those were really big when I started. So right after that video popped off and I started getting more subscribers, like before that 150 kind of range, I did a lot of sponsorships, but now I don't do as many, but those are just kind of sporadic.
The product launch, walk us through that. You were seeing a lot of affiliate sales from that video that did really well and from your channel in general. And you thought to yourself, I'm selling a ton of knives. Why don't I just make my own knife? So tell us the process of how did you go about doing that? Where do you start? Walk us through that whole process.
Yeah, I'd love to. Basically what happened is on those videos that did really well, they were all butchery videos. And I had these 2 knives that I've used in a butcher shop professionally. And everyone who was in there cutting meat was doing the same, using those same knives. And so those are the ones I suggested. And then I did an Amazon Associates link, and they were selling hundreds of those a month. So I was like, looking through those reports, I'm like, maybe we should look into getting some knives manufactured. So we went into that process and going overseas and kind of going through the whole process of, getting samples from different manufacturers, but then, changing out handles and blades. And we went through several iterations to get to where we're at now. And I actually started out with a Shopify website, and the Shopify had a warehouse. They were doing the warehouse thing where they would, like a 3PL, where they would ship, you get an order, they would ship it out, and they would take the returns and all that stuff. So we did that for 6 months, from January of this year to June. So just last month. And then I decided to move to Amazon. And so we're in the process of moving all of that inventory to Amazon, and it's going well. It's 1 full month. It's going a lot better. So
now you're primarily selling on Amazon can you double dip, by the way? Can you use an affiliate link to your own product and get the affiliate revenue plus the revenue you're making from the product? I'm curious about that.
I've heard that people have done that. I have not, Amazon is like this black box. You can get bogged in with all of their, fine print and stuff like that. So I'm still trying to figure out if you really can do that. I've heard of other creators doing that. Right now, they run a lot of different kind of programs. And right now you kind of already get that by using a link, a specific Amazon link. So it's kind of the same thing. You kind of have, with being a creator and a brand owner, basically you've got your foot in 2 pools. Like you're splitting so they're not used to dealing with someone like me who has an audience and a brand.
But it also goes back to what we talked about at the top of this conversation. In order for you to sell more knives, you have to make more videos, right? And so it's kind of just like this ever churning thing of just like, hey, the content is the fuel, is the gasoline of the whole thing, right? There's a bunch of parts, there's the engine, there's the body of the car, but at the end of the day, the content is what fuels it. Maybe we should call it the oil, keep your oil changed and keep it updated all the time, right? Is that you want to sell more knives from the Butchered Wizard brand. Well, the Butchered Wizard brand on YouTube better keep pumping out stuff, right? Whether it be there or on TikTok or Instagram. And man, I just feel like that you're at the precipice of you're at the bottom of it, making like $10,000-$15,000 a month right now, I feel like you could scale this thing to make a lot more money than that. Obviously, more products, more things like that. In regards to your own product, how do you do it naturally within the video? I mean, obviously for you, it's pretty simple. You're cutting the meat and you're like, hey, if you like the looks of this knife, I mean, this is my knife, as you're talking, you kind of naturally throw it in there. How do you do it without sounding salesy?
Yeah. I think just the fact if you're using it in your video, which is why I would say to other creators of like, if you're going to go down the product line, which I think everybody should in these kind of like tutorial based videos, find a product that's naturally you use all the time and then try to manufacture it yourself. So that way you never are going outside to sell it. You're just using it. And then I will say, as I'm going through it, hey, this is the knife that I'm using. You can use another knife if you want. This is the knife that I have, and here's the link. I just try to keep it very quick and very nonchalant because in the big scheme of things, I want people to buy more knives, but I really want them to learn the content more because they're at YouTube to get the content, not to buy stuff.
That's an important comment you just made. It's because you have the mentality of what you just said. That's the reason why you're selling a lot of knives. Because if your main goal and focus when you went to make a video was, how can I sell the most Butcher Wizard knives? Your channel and content would stink. Let's just be honest. But you really have a heart for, okay, I really want them to know, right, which one of these steaks is cheaper? How are you getting the most bang for your buck out of these meat cuts when you go to the store? That's my goal. But if while they're here, they want to spend some money and help me out and get a good set of knives, they can do both. But that's not the sole purpose of the content creation, right? And so you saying that is powerful. That's really what I want people to hear from this bit of the conversation is that, yes, you can sell your affiliate, you can sell your products, you can sell the sponsor, but if the content in general is not the hub of what you're doing and it's not the core of what the channel is, you're just going to fail from the beginning. And so I love to hear you say that. We're in the realm of AI, and you already mentioned that you're not a very tech-savvy person. That's fine. But I will ask this question because it's a new question that I love to ask. Are you using any artificial intelligence tools as companion pieces to help you with your YouTube channel? If so, what are they and what do they do?
Yeah, I'll just kind of use ChatGPT every once in a while to what I've done. Actually, I know you've had Roberto Blake on your podcast before. He has like a set of prompts that he sells, and it's like $9 or something. It's awesome. And he'll kind of tell you what to type in to set up the prompt, to set up the ChatGPT so they know what your channel is about. And then you can start asking it questions like, give me X amount of video ideas and things like that. So again, I'm probably like I said, I'm probably like on stage, 1.5 or whatever, like out of 10 on using AI and ChatGPT to its full potential. But yeah, I'll use it for different video ideas. And it's just, it is a good jumping off point because then you can start, okay, like I see where they're going with this. Can I, take it a different level?
What's next for the channel? Short term and long term, the Butcher Wizard brand. Say that 5 times fast. What is on the docket? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, so we're continuing to put out videos. We opened up a Facebook group to kind of connect with the community because the YouTube comments I can't even live in the YouTube comments anymore. So I was like, okay, let's go somewhere else because someone told me that people, especially in these kind of tutorial niches like that I have that are men and older men and all this stuff, they show their love by telling you you're doing everything wrong. So maybe that's how the comments. But anyway, so we started a Facebook group. That's going great. We're doing like a monthly challenge in there where I wanted to make it like a paid community, but for free, where we're doing we did a ribeye challenge where I did 3 days, 3 sets of videos that showed them how to break down this ribeye, where to get it, tools and eat, all that stuff. So that's been a lot of fun playing with that. I'm going to continue doing that, continue making videos. We got a couple more products that are going to come out this year, fingers crossed. So we're going to have one more knife come out. That's the next thing. And then I want to do a cutting board because it's basically like trying to find what are the basic tools that someone would need to do what I do and to follow the videos. So as of right now, we have big plans for next year about some different slicers and grinders and different things that are more complicated to manufacture. So I'm just really excited about the future about all of it.
You should be. And to think that this whole thing started on YouTube, right? That's the beauty of this conversation and what I want to bring it back to. If you want to go check his channel out after listening to this and you're on a walk or something and you're listening to the podcast, it's Butcher Wizard over on YouTube. And I will have all of Brad and his links down in the show notes for you to go kind of follow him and check out what he's got going on to kind of see the things that we've talked about. But Brad, you have been a phenomenal guest. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I've been listening to this podcast, before I started my YouTube channel, and it kind of gave me the confidence to kind of turn on the camera. So I really appreciate everything you do.
Yep. And we're now 240,000 subscribers later for you and only 83 videos. So you are doing something right, my friend. Keep up the good work, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening to this week's episode of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the show for absolutely free in your podcast player of choice. Also, there are ways you can connect with us. You can support us by supporting our sponsor, TubeBuddy, as well as supporting us over on Patreon to get access to our creator Discord community. And I also offer YouTube coaching and consultation, YouTube channel reviews, and just overall business coaching if that's something that you are wanting to look into. So make sure you check us out there, and we'll see you next week.